Welcome to History Brings Leap, your nightly refuge for journeys through time. I'm Mike, your guide on this voyage into the past. Make space in your mind, leave behind the day's worries, and settle comfortably in your favorite spot. Tonight, I'll bring you a story woven from the threads of time, designed to cradle your thoughts and accompany you toward deep rest. Prepare to glide between the pages of history, where every word will be a whisper, and every scene a canvas for your imagination. This unique experience is created especially for you, our dear subscribers and friends, who find in the past the balm for the present. At History Brings Leap, every story is a bridge to tranquility. So adjust your pillows, gently close your eyes, and allow the echo of voices from the past to guide you into the arms of Morpheus. Your historical journey begins now. I'm Mike, and tonight we'll journey into the heart of the Mesoamerican jungle to explore the ancient Maya civilization, one of history's most fascinating and enigmatic cultures. The Maya civilization flourished for over 2,000 years in what is now southern Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador. Unlike the great empires of Egypt or Rome, the Maya were never unified under a single ruler, but instead existed as a collection of independent city-states that shared a common culture and language. What makes the Maya particularly remarkable is their intellectual achievements. Without metal tools or the wheel, they built towering cities with sophisticated architecture, developed a complex writing system, and created astronomical calculations that rivaled those of any ancient civilization. The Maya were masters of time itself. Their calendar systems tracked the movements of celestial bodies with incredible precision, allowing them to predict eclipses and other cosmic events centuries in advance. This understanding of time permeated every aspect of their society, from agriculture to religion to governance. The Maya world was one of contrasts. Towering pyramids that pierced the jungle canopy, intricate carvings that told stories of kings and gods, and a deep spiritual connection to the natural world that surrounded them. They saw themselves as part of a cosmic order, with responsibilities to maintain balance between the human and divine realms. In this journey, we'll explore the daily life of ordinary Mayans, their social structure, religious beliefs, and the legacy they left behind. We'll move beyond the image of bloodthirsty sacrificers to understand the people who developed advanced mathematics, created beautiful art, and built cities in harmony with their environment. As we begin, imagine the humid air of the jungle, the calls of howler monkeys echoing through the trees, and the sight of stone pyramids emerging from the morning mist. Let the steady rhythm of our narrative guide you into the world of the Maya. In our next segment, we'll explore the geographical setting that shaped Mayan civilization. The Maya civilization developed in a diverse and challenging landscape that shaped every aspect of their culture. Their territory encompassed tropical rainforests, highland mountains, coastal plains, and semi-arid regions, each presenting unique opportunities and challenges. The lowland rainforests of the region in Guatemala and the peninsula were home to the most famous Maya cities. This environment was characterized by dense vegetation, seasonal rainfall, and poor soil quality. Despite these challenges, the Maya thrived here, developing sophisticated agricultural techniques to feed growing populations. The highlands of Guatemala and Chiapas offered a different environment, with cooler temperatures, volcanic soil, and valuable resources like obsidian and jade. These regions supported important cities like Caminal Juyu and were a crucial trade centers connecting the Maya world with other Mesoamerican cultures. Along the Caribbean and Pacific coasts, the Maya established ports and trading settlements that facilitated exchange with distant regions. These coastal communities had access to marine resources and were part of extensive trade networks that extended as far as central Mexico and Central America. The Maya world was defined by its karst landscape, characterized by limestone bedrock that eroded to form caves, sinkholes, cenotes, and underground rivers. These natural features were not just geographical phenomena, but held deep spiritual significance as portals to the underworld Xibalba. Water management was a constant concern in many Maya regions. Where surface water was scarce, the Maya relied on cenotes and built reservoirs chelchuns to collect rainwater. In the rainforest, They constructed sophisticated drainage systems to prevent flooding during the rainy season. This diverse environment influenced Maya settlement patterns, agricultural practices, and religious beliefs. The jungle provided food, medicine, and building materials, but also presented challenges like disease-carrying insects and difficult transportation. The Maya adapted to these varied environments through innovation and resilience, developing technologies and social systems that allowed them to thrive in one of the world's most complex landscapes. In our next segment, we'll explore the timeline of Maya civilization. Maya civilization developed over a remarkable span of time, evolving through distinct periods that saw the rise and fall of great cities and the flourishing of cultural achievements. The pre-classic period c. 2000 BCE to 250 CE marked the emergence of Maya culture. During this time, early Maya communities transitioned from nomadic hunting and gathering to settled agricultural life. The first ceremonial centers appeared, with structures at sites like Nakbi and El Mirador in the region. By the late pre-classic 400 BCE to 250 CE, the Maya had developed their writing system and were building monumental architecture, including the world's first pyramids. The classic period 250-900 CE represents the golden age of Maya civilization. This era saw the flourishing of great city-states like Tikal, Palenque, and Calakmul. Rulers commissioned elaborate stelae monuments to record their achievements and lineage. Maya art, architecture, astronomy, and mathematics reached their peak during this time. The classic period was characterized by intense warfare between competing city-states. It's evidenced by carved panels and inscriptions that record military victories and captures of rival nobles. The terminal classic 800-900 CE witnessed the dramatic collapse of many lowland Maya cities. This collapse was not a single event, but a complex process that unfolded over a century or more. Cities were abandoned, monumental construction ceased, and population declined significantly. The causes remain debated but likely included environmental degradation, drought, warfare, and political instability. The post-classic period 900-150 CE saw the shift of power from the southern lowlands to the northern peninsula. Cities like Intulim rose to prominence, showing influences from central Mexico. The post-classic Maya continued many traditions of their ancestors, but with changes in art style, architecture, and political organization. The Spanish conquest began in the early 16th century with the last independent Maya city. Falling in 1697, despite colonization, Maya people maintained many aspects of their culture, language, and traditions, which continue to thrive today. This long timeline allowed the Maya to develop and refine their cultural achievements over centuries, creating one of the most enduring civilizations of the ancient world. In our next segment, we'll explore the structure of Maya society. Maya society was highly stratified, with a clear hierarchy that determined one's role, privileges, and responsibilities. This social structure varied somewhat between city-states and across time, but certain elements remained consistent throughout the Maya world. At the top of the social pyramid was the ruler, known as the Kewul, Ajah, or Holy Lord. This king was considered divine, serving as the intermediary between the human and supernatural realms. The ruler's authority was based on his ability to communicate with the gods and ancestors, ensuring cosmic order and prosperity for his people. Below the ruler was the royal family and nobility, including priests, scribes, and high-ranking officials. This elite class controlled religious ceremonies, recorded historical events, and administered the city-state. They lived in the central precincts of cities, surrounding themselves with luxury goods and fine art. The next tier consisted of merchants and artisans. Merchants played a crucial role in the Maya economy, traveling long distances to trade goods like obsidian, jade, cacao, and quetzal feathers. Artisans specialized in crafts like pottery, carving, and weaving, creating objects for both practical use and ritual purposes. The majority of Maya society were common farmers who lived in smaller settlements surrounding the cities. These farmers formed the economic backbone of Maya civilization, producing food through intensive agricultural techniques. While they had fewer privileges, they participated in community life and religious ceremonies. At the bottom of the social hierarchy were slaves, who were typically war captives, criminals, or individuals who had sold themselves into slavery to pay debts. Slaves performed domestic work and assisted farmers, but they could sometimes earn their freedom through service or marriage. Social status was largely hereditary, but individuals could improve their position through exceptional service in warfare, successful trade, or special skills in crafts or ritual knowledge. Women's status varied, but elite women could hold considerable power, particularly in religious contexts and as regents for young heirs. This social structure allowed the Maya to organize labor for monumental construction projects, to maintain complex religious systems, and support specialized professions that contributed to their cultural achievements. In our next segment, we'll explore Maya, agriculture, and food production. The Maya developed sophisticated agricultural techniques that allowed them to thrive in challenging environments and support large populations. Their farming practices were closely tied to their understanding of the natural world and their religious beliefs. The most important Maya crop was maize corn, which they considered sacred and believed humans were created from. Maize was not just a staple food, but a central element of their cosmology and identity. They cultivated multiple varieties adapted to different environments and uses. In the rainforest lowlands, the Maya practiced slash-and-burn agriculture, clearing small patches of forest by cutting and burning vegetation. This method provided fertile soil for several years before fields were abandoned to regenerate. To maintain productivity, they rotated fields and allowed fallow periods for forest recovery. In areas with poor drainage, the Maya built raised fields, creating elevated planting surfaces surrounded by canals. This technique prevented waterlogging during the rainy season and provided irrigation during dry periods. The canals also served as fish ponds, adding protein to their diet. In the peninsula, where surface water was scarce, the Maya developed household gardens coals near their homes and constructed chulchuns, underground cisterns to collect rainwater. They also took advantage of natural sinkholes, cenotes, as water sources. The Maya practiced agroforestry, managing forest resources to provide food, medicine, and materials. They cultivated fruit trees like avocado and sapodilla, and used the sap of the chicle tree for chewing gum. They also kept domesticated animals like turkeys and dogs, and hunted game including deer, peccaries, and birds. Food preparation involved grinding maize on stone mateas to make dough for tortillas and tamales. They also consumed beans, squash, chili peppers, and cacao, which was used to make a prestigious chocolate drink often mixed with spices and foam. The Maya calendar guided agricultural activities, with ceremonies marking important planting and harvesting times. Religious beliefs emphasized reciprocity with nature, and the Maya performed rituals to ensure good harvests and balance with the natural world. This sophisticated agricultural system allowed the Maya to support dense populations and build complex societies in environments that might otherwise seem inhospitable to large-scale human settlement. In our next segment, we'll explore Maya cities and urban planning. Maya cities were masterpieces of urban planning, blending architectural grandeur with harmonious integration into the natural landscape. Unlike modern cities, Maya urban centers were not primarily residential but served as ceremonial, administrative, and economic hubs for surrounding populations. The heart of a Maya city was its central precinct, dominated by monumental architecture, including pyramids, palaces, and ball courts. These structures were arranged around plazas that served as gathering spaces for ceremonies, markets, and public events. The layout often reflected cosmological principles, with buildings aligned to celestial events and cardinal directions. Maya pyramids were not just tombs, but sacred mountains that connected the human realm with the heavens. The most famous example is the Temple of Kukulkan, designed so that during the equinoxes, sunlight creates the illusion of a serpent descending the staircase. Pyramids often contained tombs of rulers and were frequently enlarged over time, with new structures built over existing ones. Palaces served as residences for rulers and administrative centers. These multi-room complexes featured courtyards, vaulted chambers, and elaborate carvings that depicted historical events and religious themes. The palace at Palenque, with its intricate sculptures and hieroglyphic inscriptions, exemplifies Maya architectural sophistication. Ball courts were another essential feature of Maya cities. These eye-shaped structures hosted the ritual ball game, which had religious significance and was sometimes associated with human sacrifice. The Great Ball Cordette is the largest in Mesoamerica, with walls towering 27 feet high. Maya cities also included observatories like the Caracolet, which was designed to track the movements of Venus and other celestial bodies. These structures demonstrate the Mayas' advanced astronomical knowledge and its integration into urban planning. Residential areas surrounded the central precinct, with commoners living in smaller structures made from perishable materials. These neighborhoods were organized by kinship or craft specialization, creating distinct districts within the city. The Maya built extensive road systems, sack-beep connecting cities, and important sites. These raised causeways, paved with limestone plaster, facilitated trade, communication, and military movements across difficult terrain. Maya urban planning reflected their understanding of astronomy, their social hierarchy, and their relationship with the natural world. Cities were designed to impress visitors, reinforce political power, and serve as stages for the elaborate rituals that sustained Maya cosmology. In our next segment, we'll explore Maya writing and literature. The Maya developed one of the few writing systems in the ancient Americas, creating a sophisticated script that could record any word in their language. This writing system, used from around 300 BCE until the Spanish conquest, represents one of their most remarkable intellectual achievements. Maya writing combined logogram symbols representing whole words and syllabic signs representing syllables.
Ow.
This combination allowed scribes to record complex ideas,
Ow.
historical events, and religious concepts with remarkable precision. The script was written in blocks read from left to right and top to bottom, with 2 blocks forming a paired column. Most Maya writing was carved on stone monuments called stelae, which recorded the deeds of rulers, important dates, and astronomical events. These monuments were often placed in public plazas, serving both as historical records and political propaganda. The hieroglyphic stairway, at with its 200 individual glyphs, is the longest known Maya inscription. The Maya also wrote in bark paper books called codices. These screenfold books contained astronomical tables, almanacs, divination manuals, and ritual instructions. Unfortunately, most Maya codices were destroyed during the Spanish conquest. With only 4 surviving examples, the Dresden, Madrid, Paris, and Grolier codices, scribes held a respected position in Maya society, often coming from the royal family or elite class. They underwent extensive training and were associated with the god of writing Itzamna. Scribes used brushes made from animal hair and quills with ink derived from minerals and plants. Maya literature included historical chronicles, mythological narratives, and poetry. The Popova, written in the Maya language using the Latin alphabet after the conquest, preserves the Maya creation myth and epic tales of hero twins. Though recorded later, this text reflects traditional stories that would have been familiar throughout the Maya world. The decipherment of Maya writing was a major achievement of the 20th century. For centuries, scholars could only read numbers and dates. But breakthroughs in the 1970s and 1980s revealed the phonetic nature of many signs. Today, about 85% of Maya texts can be read, providing invaluable insights into Maya history, culture, and thought. Maya writing reflects their intellectual sophistication and their desire to record knowledge for future generations. It allowed them to preserve historical memory, communicate across distances, and document their understanding of the cosmos. In our next segment, we'll explore Maya mathematics and numerical systems. The Maya developed one of the most sophisticated mathematical systems of the ancient world, including the concept of 0 centuries before it appeared in Europe. Their numerical system was vigesimal base 20 and used only 3 symbols: a dot for 1, a bar for 5, and a shell for 0. This simple yet elegant system allowed the Maya to perform complex calculations and record large numbers efficiently. Numbers were written vertically, with the largest value at the top. For example, the number 23 would be written as a bar 5, on top of 3 dots, 3 times 1, with another bar below 5, presenting 5 plus 3 1, plus 5 equals 23. The Maya concept of 0 was revolutionary. While other ancient civilizations had placeholder symbols, the Maya treated 0 as a complete number that could be used in calculations. This innovation was crucial for their advanced astronomical work and calendar systems. Maya mathematics was closely tied to their astronomy and calendrical systems. They could calculate with remarkable precision the cycles of Venus, the moon, and other celestial bodies. Their astronomical tables in the Dresden Codex are accurate to within minutes, even over centuries. The Maya used mathematics and architecture, ensuring that buildings were properly aligned with celestial events. They also applied mathematical principles to trade, calculating distances, quantities of goods, and exchange rates between different items. Mathematics had religious significance for the Maya. Numbers were associated with gods and cosmic forces, and mathematical calculations were often part of ritual practices. The number 20, for instance, represented the total number of fingers and toes, connecting human anatomy to their numerical system. Maya mathematics was taught through oral tradition and practical application. Scribes and astronomers received specialized training, while merchants and farmers used simpler calculations for their daily needs. The Spanish conquest disrupted the transmission of mathematical knowledge, and many Maya mathematical texts were destroyed. However, the numerical system survived in some communities, particularly for calendrical and ritual purposes. Today, Maya mathematics is recognized as a major intellectual achievement, demonstrating the sophistication of indigenous American civilizations. Their development of zero and positional notation places them among the world's great mathematical traditions. In our next segment, we'll explore the Maya calendar systems. The Maya developed multiple calendar systems that tracked time with incredible precision, reflecting their belief that time was cyclical and that understanding celestial cycles was essential for maintaining cosmic order. These calendars were central to every aspect of Maya life, from agriculture to warfare to religious ceremonies. The Tzolk'in was the sacred 260-day calendar, consisting of 13 numbers combined with 20-day names, creating a cycle that repeated every 260 days. This calendar was used for divination, determining auspicious days for ceremonies, naming children, and scheduling important events. Each day in the Tzolk'in had specific qualities and associations with particular gods and energies. The Hab was the 365-day solar calendar, divided into 18 months of 20 days each, plus a 5-day period called the Wayub. The Wayub was considered a dangerous time, when the boundaries between the human and supernatural worlds weakened, and people observed special rituals to protect themselves. The calendar round combined the Tzolk'in and Hab in a 52-year cycle. This cycle was significant for recording historical events and planning future activities, as it ensured that any particular combination of days would not repeat for 52 years. For longer historical records and astronomical calculations, the Maya used the long count calendar, which tracked linear time from a starting date corresponding to August 11, 3114 BCE in the Gregorian calendar. The long count counted days from this starting point using units of increasing size. Kin, 1 day. Winal, 20 days. Ton, 360 days. The Maya also tracked lunar cycles, Venus cycles, and other astronomical phenomena. Their Venus calendar was particularly accurate, with an error of only about 2 hours in 500 years. These astronomical calculations were recorded in codices and used to time rituals and agricultural activities. The Maya believed that time was not neutral, but carried specific qualities and influences. Priests and astronomers interpreted these patterns to guide community decisions and maintain balance with the cosmic order. Calendar rituals were essential for renewing time and ensuring the continuation of the world. The ending of major cycles, particularly Catons and Bactons, were marked by elaborate ceremonies involving rulers, priests, and the entire community. The Spanish conquest disrupted the use of Maya calendars, though some communities continued to maintain the Tzolk'in for ritual purposes. Today, there is a revival of interest in traditional calendrical knowledge among Maya communities and scholars. Maya calendrical systems represent one of their most impressive intellectual achievements, demonstrating their advanced understanding of astronomy and mathematics and their unique conception of time as both cyclical and linear. In our next segment, we'll explore Maya astronomy and cosmology. The Maya were keen observers of the heavens, developing sophisticated astronomical knowledge that guided their religious practices, agricultural activities, and political decisions. Their understanding of celestial movements was among the most advanced in the ancient world. Maya astronomy was closely tied to their religion and cosmology. They saw the cosmos as a multi-layered universe, with the Earth at the center, supported by the world tree at its axis. Above stretched 13 heavens, each with its own gods, while below lay 9 levels of the underworld. Xibalba. The Maya carefully tracked the movements of the sun, moon, Venus, and other celestial bodies. They built observatories like the Caracolat and aligned buildings to mark significant astronomical events, such as solstices, equinoxes, and the rising and setting of Venus. Venus held particular importance in Maya cosmology. Associated with warfare and sacrifice, the planet's cycles were recorded in detail in the Dresden Codex. The Maya could predict Venus's appearance as both morning and evening star with remarkable accuracy. The Maya also developed eclipse prediction tables, allowing them to anticipate these dramatic events. Eclipses were seen as dangerous times when the sun or moon might be devoured by cosmic forces, requiring rituals to prevent disaster. Astronomical observations guided agricultural activities, determining optimal planting and harvesting times. The Pleiades star cluster, for instance, was used to predict the coming of the rainy season. Maya rulers used astronomical knowledge to reinforce their political authority. By claiming the ability to communicate with celestial deities and predict cosmic events, they justified their divine right to rule. Stelae monuments often recorded astronomical events alongside political achievements. The Maya created detailed maps of the night sky, recognizing constellations and individual stars. They saw the Milky Way as the cosmic monster or the world tree, connecting different realms of existence. Time itself was conceived as a celestial force, with the calendars reflecting cosmic cycles. The end of major calendrical periods, particularly Bactans, were seen as times of potential cosmic renewal or destruction. The Spanish conquest disrupted traditional astronomical practices, but Maya communities continued to observe celestial cycles and incorporate them into their syncretic religious practices. Maya astronomy reflects their intellectual sophistication and their deep connection to the natural world. It demonstrates how they integrated scientific observation with religious belief to create a comprehensive understanding of the cosmos. In our next segment, we'll explore Maya religion and spiritual beliefs. Religion permeated every aspect of Maya life, shaping their understanding of the world and their place within it. The Maya practiced a polytheistic faith that saw the natural world as alive with spiritual forces and deities that needed to be placated through ritual and sacrifice. The Maya pantheon included hundreds of deities associated with natural elements, celestial bodies, and aspects of daily life. Important gods included Itzamna, the creator god associated with writing and healing; Kanich Ahau, the sun god; Chak, the rain god; and Ixchel, the goddess of medicine and childbirth. These deities could be both benevolent and destructive, reflecting the dual nature of the natural world. Maya believed in a three-tiered cosmos consisting of the heavens above, the earthly realm in the middle, and the underworld Xibalba below. These realms were connected by the world tree, which grew through the center of the universe. Kings and shamans could travel between these realms through trance states and ritual practices. Ancestor veneration was central to Maya religion. The dead, particularly rulers and nobles, continued to influence the living and required offerings and remembrance. Royal tombs often contained items the deceased would need in the afterlife, and families maintained ancestor shrines in their homes. The Maya believed that human sacrifice was necessary to nourish the gods and maintain cosmic balance. While most sacrifices involved animals like deer or dogs, human sacrifice, particularly of captured warriors, was practiced during important ceremonies. The heart was seen as the seat of life force and was offered to the gods. Bloodletting was another important ritual practice performed by rulers and nobles as an act of devotion. Using stingray spines or obsidian blades, they would pierce their tongue, ears, or genitals, collecting the blood on bark paper that was then burned as an offering. The Maya also practiced auto-sacrifice during times of crisis, such as drought or warfare. These rituals were believed to communicate with the gods and seek their intervention in human affairs. Shamans, known as Echiman, served as intermediaries between the human and spirit worlds. They used hallucinogenic substances, fasting, and other techniques to enter trance states and communicate with deities and ancestors. Religious ceremonies were held at specific times determined by the calendar and astronomical events. These included dances, music, prayer, offerings of food and incense, and dramatic reenactments of mythological events. The Spanish conquest brought dramatic changes to Maya religious practices, as Catholicism was imposed and indigenous beliefs were suppressed. However, many traditional elements survived in syncretic forms, blending with Christian practices to create a unique religious expression that continues today. Maya religion reflects their deep connection to the natural world and their understanding of humans as part of a larger cosmic order. It provided meaning, structure, guidance for daily life, while addressing fundamental questions about existence and the afterlife. In our next segment, we'll explore Maya rituals and ceremonies. Maya rituals and ceremonies were elaborate events that reinforced social bonds, communicated with deities, and maintained cosmic order. These practices ranged from daily household observances to grand public spectacles involving entire communities. Household rituals were performed by family members to honor ancestors and household gods. These included offering food and drink at family shrines, burning incense, and saying prayers for protection and prosperity. Newborns received special ceremonies to introduce them to the community and ensure their spiritual well-being. Community ceremonies were often held in public plazas and temples, led by priests and rulers. These events marked important calendar dates, agricultural cycles, and significant life transitions. They included music, dance, theatrical performances, and offerings to the gods. The Kaitan ending ceremony was one of the most important public rituals, occurring every 20 years when a Kaitan cycle of the long count calendar concluded. These events involved the entire community and included the erection of new stelae, bloodletting rituals, and the renewal of political and religious authority. Ball games were both sport and ritual, played in special courts throughout the Maya world. The game symbolized the cosmic struggle between life and death, light and darkness. Sometimes, the losing team, or its captain, would be sacrificed, making the game a serious religious observance as well as entertainment. Initiation rites marked the transition to adulthood. For boys, this involved a period of seclusion and instruction from elders, culminating in a ceremony where they received their adult name. Girls underwent similar rituals, often focusing on their future roles as wives and mothers. Healing ceremonies were performed by shamans to treat illness, which was often attributed to spiritual causes. These rituals involved prayer, herbal remedies, and sometimes the extraction of harmful objects believed to have been magically placed in the patient's body. Burial practices varied by social status. Rulers were entombed in elaborate pyramids with rich grave goods, while commoners were buried under house floors or in community cemeteries with simpler offerings. Funeral rites included prayers, offerings, and sometimes periods of mourning with specific taboos. Ceremonies related to agriculture were crucial for ensuring good harvests. Before planting, farmers might offer prayers and small sacrifices to Chak, the rain god. Harvest festivals celebrated the bounty and gave thanks to the gods and ancestors. The Spanish conquest disrupted many traditional ceremonies, while others were adapted to incorporate Christian elements. Despite these changes, many Maya communities continue to perform rituals that blend pre-Columbian and colonial influences. Maintaining a connection to their spiritual heritage, Maya rituals reflect their understanding of the cosmos as a dynamic system requiring human participation to maintain balance. These ceremonies provided structure, meaning, and community cohesion while addressing fundamental human needs for connection with the divine. In our next segment, we'll explore Maya art and iconography. Maya art was a sophisticated means of communication, expressing religious beliefs, recording historical events, and reinforcing social status. It's created in various media, including stone, stucco, jade, ceramics, and bark paper. Maya art combined aesthetic beauty with symbolic meaning. Stone sculpture was one of the most enduring forms of Maya artistic expression. Steely, tall stone monuments carved with images and hieroglyphs were erected in plazas to commemorate important dates and the achievements of rulers. These monuments often depicted rulers in elaborate costumes holding ceremonial bars and standing on captives, symbolizing their power and divine connection. Architectural sculpture decorated buildings with intricate carvings that depicted mythological scenes, historical events, and geometric patterns. The facades of buildings like the Temple of the Inscriptions at Palenque featured elaborate reliefs that told stories of rulers and gods. Maya ceramics were both functional and artistic. Vases, bowls, and plates were painted with scenes from court life, mythological narratives, and hieroglyphic texts. The codex-style ceramics from the late Classic period are particularly renowned for their fine-line painting and complex iconography. Jade was highly valued by the Maya, who considered it more precious than gold. Artisans carved jade into intricate jewelry, masks, and ceremonial objects. The jade funerary mask of King Pakal from Palenque is a masterpiece of Maya craftsmanship, demonstrating their skill in working this difficult material. Stucco was used to create three-dimensional sculptures on buildings and freestanding figures. The stucco facades of buildings at sites like Palenque and featured dynamic depictions of rulers and deities, often painted in bright colors that have since faded. Maya iconography was rich with symbolic meaning. Common motifs included the jaguar symbol of power and the knight, the serpent, associated with the sky and kingship. The cross-eyed figure representing beauty and the ability to see into other worlds, the world tree connecting the cosmic realms. Color held symbolic significance in Maya art. Blue, the Maya blue pigment, was associated with the sky and water, red with blood and life force, yellow with the south and maize, and black with the west and death. These colors were used deliberately to convey meaning in artistic compositions. Artisans held respected positions in Maya society, often coming from elite families. They worked in royal workshops, creating objects for the court and religious institutions. The skills and knowledge were passed down through generations, maintaining distinctive regional styles while sharing common iconographic elements. The Spanish conquest disrupted traditional artistic practices, as many objects were destroyed or melted down. However, Maya art continued to evolve, incorporating European influences while maintaining traditional themes and techniques. Maya art reflects their complex worldview, their understanding of the cosmos, and their social and political structures. It serves as a visual record of their history, religion, and daily life, providing invaluable insights into this fascinating civilization. In our next segment, we'll explore Maya architecture and engineering. Maya architecture represents one of their most impressive achievements, demonstrating advanced engineering skills and sophisticated understanding of mathematics and astronomy. Without metal tools or the wheel, the Maya built monumental structures that have endured for centuries. Maya construction techniques varied by region and time period, but generally involved limestone as the primary building material. In the northern lowlands, where limestone was scarce, they used concrete made from burned limestone and rubble. Buildings were often covered with stucco, which was then painted in bright colors. The corbel arch was a distinctive feature of Maya architecture. Unlike true arches, which require wedge-shaped stones, corbel arches were built by laying stones in overlapping courses until they met at the top. While limiting the width of interior spaces, this technique allowed the Maya to create vaulted chambers and multi-story buildings. Pyramids were the most impressive Maya structures, serving as temples, tombs, and symbols of cosmic mountains. These were typically built in stages, with new structures encasing older ones over time. The Temple of the Great Jaguar at Tikal rises 47 meters above the plaza, demonstrating the Maya's ability to create vertical monuments in a relatively flat landscape. Palaces were multi-room complexes that served as residences for rulers and administrative centers. These structures featured courtyards, vaulted chambers, and elaborate architectural decorations. The palace at Palenque, with its tower and numerous rooms, exemplifies the complexity of Maya royal architecture. Observatories were specially designed buildings aligned with celestial events. A caracolat, with its round shape and strategically placed windows and doors, allowed astronomers to track the movements of Venus and other celestial bodies. Ball courts were another distinctive architectural feature. These eye-shaped structures had sloping walls and stone rings high on the sides. The Great Ball Court is the largest in Mesoamerica, measuring 166 meters long and 70 meters wide. The Maya also built extensive road systems called sacbib, whiteways. These raised causeways, paved with limestone plaster, connected cities and important sites, facilitating trade, communication, and military movements. Some sacbibs stretched for over 100 kilometers through difficult terrain. Water management was a crucial aspect of Maya engineering. In the rainforest, they built channels and reservoirs to control water flow and prevent flooding. In the where surface water was scarce, they constructed chultuns, underground cisterns, to collect rainwater. Maya architecture was not just functional, but deeply symbolic. Buildings were aligned with cardinal directions and celestial events, reflecting the Maya understanding of the cosmos. The layout of cities often replicated the Maya cosmological model, the central precinct representing the center of the world. The Spanish conquest disrupted traditional building practices, but Maya architectural traditions continued in modified forms, particularly in rural areas. Today, Maya architecture continues to inspire admiration and study, demonstrating the ingenuity and sophistication of this ancient civilization. In our next segment, we'll explore Maya trade and economy. The Maya developed a complex economy that combined local subsistence production with extensive trade networks spanning Mesoamerica. While they lacked coinage or markets in the modern sense, their economic system supported large populations and facilitated the exchange of goods over vast distances. At the local level, most Maya households were self-sufficient, producing their own food, clothing, and basic tools through farming, hunting, and craft production. This subsistence economy formed the foundation of Maya society, with families contributing labor to community projects and receiving support in times of need. Beyond local self-sufficiency, the Maya engaged in regional and long-distance trade. Merchants, often from elite families, traveled along established routes by land and sea, carrying goods between different ecological zones. These traders were highly respected and sometimes served as ambassadors between city-states. Trade goods varied by region and reflected local resources and specialties. The lowlands exported cacao, cotton, rubber, and tropical bird feathers, while the highlands provided obsidian, jade, and volcanic stone. Coastal regions traded salt, dried fish, and shells, while all areas exchanged pottery, tools, and luxury items. Cacao beans were particularly important in Maya trade and economy. These beans were used as a form of currency with specific values assigned to different quantities. A rabbit might cost 30 cacao beans, while a slave could be valued at 100 beans. Cacao was also used to make a prestigious chocolate drink consumed by elites during ceremonies. Marketplaces existed in Maya cities, though they differed from modern markets. Trade was often conducted through barter or using cacao beans as currency, with prices sometimes regulated by authorities. Markets were important social spaces where people exchanged not just goods, but also news and ideas. The state controlled certain aspects of the economy, particularly the production and distribution of prestige goods used by elites. Rulers sponsored craft specialists who produced jade ornaments, fine ceramics, and other luxury items that reinforced social status and political power. Tribute was another important economic mechanism. Conquered city-states were required to pay tribute to their overlords in the form of goods, labor, or raw materials. This system allowed powerful centers like Tikal and Calakmul to accumulate wealth and resources beyond their local production capacity. The Maya also participated in long-distance trade networks that extended beyond their cultural region. Goods from central Mexico, including copper bells and turquoise, have been found in Maya sites, while Maya jade and cacao have been discovered in distant locations. The Spanish conquest disrupted traditional trade networks. As European goods were introduced and indigenous economies were restructured around colonial needs. However, some trade practices continued in modified forms, particularly in rural areas. Maya economy reflects their ability to organize production and exchange across diverse environments and political entities. Ideas and people throughout Mesoamerica. In our next segment, we'll explore Maya warfare and military organization. Warfare was an integral part of Maya society, serving political, economic, and religious purposes. While often depicted as ritualistic, Maya warfare could be brutal and destructive, contributing to the collapse of many classic period cities. Maya warfare evolved over time, from small-scale raids between neighboring communities to large-scale conflicts, involving multiple city-states and thousands of warriors. During the Classic period, warfare was primarily focused on capturing rivals for sacrifice and establishing political dominance rather than conquering territory. Military organization was closely tied to social structure. Rulers served as commanders-in-chief, leading nobles who formed the officer corps. Commoners made up the bulk of the army, serving as foot soldiers during campaigns. Military service was an obligation for adult males, particularly during times of conflict. Maya warriors used a variety of weapons, including atlatls, spear throwers, bows and arrows, blowguns, spears, and clubs. Armor was minimal, consisting of padded cotton vests, shields, and sometimes animal hides or feathers for ceremonial protection. Elite warriors might wear elaborate headdresses and jade ornaments to display their status. Warfare was often seasonal, timed to avoid conflicts with agricultural cycles. Campaigns typically began after the harvest and concluded before the next planting season. This timing allowed warriors to fulfill their military obligations without neglecting their farming duties. The goals of Maya warfare varied by period and context. Early conflicts often focused on capturing high-ranking enemies for sacrifice, which demonstrated the captor's power and pleased the gods. Later, particularly during the Terminal Classic, warfare became more destructive, with cities being burned and populations displaced. Warfare was closely tied to religion. Battles were preceded by rituals to divine the outcome and gain divine favor. Captured rulers were often subjected to torture and sacrifice, with their deaths recorded on monuments as symbols of the victor's superiority. Ball games sometimes served as substitutes for warfare, with the outcome determining political disputes or territorial claims. However, the connection between the ball game and sacrifice also meant that these contests could be deadly affairs. The Maya built defensive structures around their cities, including walls, moats, and palisades. Some sites, like in the featured elaborate fortification systems with multiple walls and gateways. Hilltop locations were often chosen for cities to provide natural defensive advantages. The Spanish conquest encountered a fragmented Maya world, with city-states often at odds with one another. This disunity made it easier for the conquistadors to defeat the Maya, who were unable to mount a unified resistance. Maya warfare reflects the competitive nature of their political system and the importance of military prowess in establishing and maintaining power. It also demonstrates how religious beliefs and political realities combined to shape the course of Maya history. In our next segment, we'll explore the classic Maya collapse. The collapse of classic Maya civilization, around 800-900 CE, remains one of the great mysteries of archaeology. During this period, most cities in the southern lowlands were abandoned, monumental construction ceased, and population declined dramatically. This collapse was not a single event, but a complex process that unfolded over a century or more. The collapse affected primarily the central and southern lowlands, including major sites like Tikal and Palenque. Interestingly, cities in the northern, such as Anduz Mall, continued to thrive during this period, suggesting that the collapse was not uniform across the Maya world. Archaeological evidence reveals several patterns associated with the collapse. Stelae and monuments stopped being erected, indicating a breakdown in the political system. Palaces were abandoned, and elite residences show signs of destruction. Population density decreased dramatically, with many areas being completely depopulated. Multiple factors likely contributed to the collapse, with environmental degradation playing a significant role. The Maya had transformed their environment through deforestation and intensive agriculture, which may have led to soil erosion, reduced water retention, and decreased agricultural productivity. Climate data suggests that prolonged droughts occurred during this period, exacerbating environmental stresses. Warfare intensified during the terminal Classic period, with evidence showing increased fortifications, weapon production, and depictions of warfare in art. This conflict may have disrupted trade networks and diverted resources from other activities, contributing to social instability. Political fragmentation was another factor. The Classic period Maya world consisted of competing city-states engaged in constant rivalry. This system may have become unsustainable as resources became scarcer and populations grew, leading to a breakdown in the traditional order of divine kingship. Disease may have played a role, though direct evidence is limited. The collapse of sanitation systems and disruption of food supplies could have led to malnutrition and increased vulnerability to illnesses. Social unrest is evident in the archaeological record, with evidence of the burning of elite structures and the rejection of traditional symbols of authority. This suggests that common people may have turned against the ruling class during times of crisis. The collapse was not total extinction, but a transformation. Populations migrated to other areas, particularly the northern and highlands. Cultural traditions continued, though in modified forms, and some Maya cities persisted or were founded during this period. The Maya collapse offers important lessons about the vulnerability of complex societies. 2. Environmental and social challenges. It demonstrates how multiple stressors can combine to overwhelm even the most sophisticated civilizations. Modern research continues to refine our understanding of this complex process, using new technologies like LiDAR mapping and climate modeling to uncover the intricate relationships between humans and their environment that shaped Maya history. In our next segment, we'll explore the post-Classic Maya period. Following the Classic period collapse, Maya civilization entered the post-Classic period, 900 to 1500 CE, characterized by significant cultural and political changes. This era saw the shift of power from the southern lowlands to the northern peninsula and the emergence of new cultural influences. The post-Classic Maya world was dominated by several powerful city-states in the rose to prominence around 900 CE, becoming one of the largest Maya cities with a population of perhaps 50,000 people. The city featured a unique architectural style that combined traditional Maya elements with influences from central Mexico, particularly the Toltecs. After decline, around Lingling CE, became the dominant power in the region. Was a walled city that controlled a large territory through a confederacy of smaller states. This political structure differed from the divine kingship of the Classic period, suggesting a more collective form of governance. Other important post-Classic sites included Tulum on the Caribbean coast, which served as a major port. The highland cities of the Caiche and Quexical Maya, such as Kumarcaj, and these highland kingdoms maintained many traditional Maya practices while developing new political institutions. The post-Classic period saw changes in art and architecture. Buildings became more fortified, reflecting increased warfare. Sculpture and painting showed more militaristic themes, with less emphasis on the divine rulers depicted in Classic period art. The distinctive Puuc style of the northern featured elaborate stone mosaics on building facades. Trade networks expanded during this period, with the Maya participating in extensive exchange networks that reached central Mexico and beyond. Coastal cities like Tulum facilitated maritime trade, while inland cities controlled overland routes. Cacao, cotton, salt, and honey were important trade goods. Religious practices evolved with greater emphasis on human sacrifice, possibly influenced by central Mexican traditions. The cult of Kukulkan, the Maya version of the feathered serpent Quetzalcoatl, became prominent. Particularly at the post-Classic Maya developed the books of Chilambalam, which contained historical prophecies and chronicles written in the Maya language using the Latin alphabet after the Spanish conquest. These texts provide valuable insights into post-Classic Maya thought and historical consciousness. The Spanish conquest of the Maya began in the early 16th century and lasted for nearly 200 years. The Maya fiercely resisted colonization, with the last independent Maya kingdom falling to the Spanish in 1697. Despite conquest, Many Maya communities maintain their language, traditions, and aspects of their political organization. The post-classic period demonstrates the resilience and adaptability of Maya civilization. While different from the classic period in many ways, it continued the core cultural traditions that had defined Maya identity for centuries. In our next segment, we'll explore Maya daily life and household activities. Daily life for the ancient Maya revolved around household activities, agricultural work, and community participation. While the lives of elites differed significantly from those of commoners, certain routines and practices were shared across Maya society. The typical Maya household consisted of an extended family living in a cluster of structures arranged around a patio. Houses were usually single-room dwellings built with perishable materials like wood, palm fronds, and mud, though stone foundations were sometimes used. The layout reflected the Maya cosmos, with the patio representing the center of the world. Daily activities began at dawn, with family members rising to begin their tasks. Women typically started the day by grinding maize on a stone metate to make dough for tortillas and tamales. They also cared for children, tended kitchen gardens, wove textiles, and processed food for storage. Men's work varied by season and social status. Most were farmers who spent their days in maize fields using digging sticks and stone tools to plant weed and harvest crops. During non-agricultural seasons, they might participate in construction projects, craft production, or trade. Children began learning gender-specific tasks at an early age. Boys accompanied their fathers to the fields and learned farming skills, while girls helped their mothers with household chores and textile production. Education for elite children included training in reading, writing, and ritual knowledge. Meals were simple but nutritious, centered around maize tortillas, supplemented with beans, squash, chili peppers, and occasionally meat from hunting or domesticated animals like turkeys and dogs. Beverages included atole maize gruel, and, for special occasions, chocolate drinks. Household rituals were an important part of daily life. Families maintained small shrines where they made offerings to ancestors and household gods. Incense was burned daily, and prayers were said for protection and prosperity. Craft production was often a household activity, with families specializing in particular skills. Pottery making, basket weaving, and tool production were common crafts that supplemented agricultural income. Community participation was essential, with families contributing labor to public projects like temple construction, road maintenance, and agricultural work for the elite. This collective labor system, similar to the Inca meta, ensured that community needs were met. Evening activities included storytelling, music, and family time. After a day of work, families would gather to share meals, discuss the day's events, and pass down oral traditions. These moments reinforced social bonds and cultural knowledge. The Spanish conquest disrupted many traditional practices, but Maya households continued to maintain core elements of their culture, adapting to new circumstances while preserving their identity. Maya daily life reflects the importance of family, community, and harmony with the natural world. These values sustain Maya civilization through centuries of change and continue to influence Maya communities today. In our next segment, we'll explore Maya clothing and personal adornment. Maya clothing and personal adornment reflected social status, gender roles, and cultural identity. While commoners wore simple garments made from cotton, elites displayed their wealth and position through elaborate costumes and precious ornaments. Basic Maya clothing consisted of a few key garments. For men, this included a breechcloth X and a simple tunic or shirt. Women wore a rectangular garment called a hupil, which was wrapped around the body and fastened with a sash, along with a skirt queque. These garments were typically made from cotton, which was grown, spun, and woven locally. Clothing styles varied by region and time period. In the highlands, garments were often thicker and more colorful, while lowland Maya wore lighter clothing suited to the tropical climate. The Spanish conquest introduced new materials like wool and silk, which were gradually incorporated into traditional dress. Elite clothing was far more elaborate, featuring intricate embroidery, featherwork, and precious materials. Rulers. And nobles wore magnificent costumes during ceremonies, including headdresses, jade pectorals, and elaborate back racks that extended behind them like fans. Textile production was primarily women's work, using backstrap looms to create cloth with complex patterns and symbolic designs. These patterns often contained information about the wearer's community, social status, and religious beliefs. Natural dyes produced a range of colors, with cochineal insects providing red, indigo plants yielding blue, and minerals creating yellow and green tones. Personal adornment was important for all Maya, though the materials varied by social status. Commoners wore simple jewelry made from bone, shell, or stone, while elites displayed ornaments of jade, obsidian, and quetzal feathers. Jade was particularly prized, considered more valuable than gold. Body modification was practiced by both men and women. Cranial deformation, achieved by binding infants' heads between boards, created an elongated forehead that was considered beautiful. Ear and nose piercing was common, with elites wearing elaborate plugs and ornaments. Tattooing and scarification were also practiced, often indicating social status or religious devotion. Hairstyles were carefully maintained and varied by gender, age, and social position. Men typically wore their hair short, while women grew their hair long and arranged it in elaborate styles. Elite men might tie their hair back in a bun or wear elaborate headdresses during ceremonies. Footwear was minimal, with most Maya going barefoot. Sandals made from leather or plant fibers were worn for long journeys or by elites during ceremonies. Cosmetics were used, particularly by elites during rituals. Face paint in red, yellow, and black was applied in patterns that indicated social status or religious affiliation. Mirrors made from polished iron ore were used for grooming. The Spanish conquest introduced new clothing styles and materials, particularly for elites who adopted European garments to signify their new status. However, many Maya communities maintain traditional dress, which continues to be an important marker of cultural identity today. Maya clothing and adornment reflect their aesthetic sensibilities, social structure, and cultural values. These practices demonstrate how personal appearance served as a visual language, communicating information about identity and status within Maya society. In our next segment, we'll explore Maya music, dance, and performance. The legacy of the ancient Maya continues to resonate in modern culture, influencing art, architecture, literature, and popular imagination. Far from being a lost civilization, the Maya remain a living presence whose achievements continue to inspire and fascinate people around the world. Maya architectural principles have influenced modern designers, particularly in the use of natural materials and harmony with the environment. The organic integration of buildings into landscapes, seen at sites like Palenque and Uxmal, has inspired sustainable architecture movements that seek to balance human needs with ecological concerns. Maya mathematics and astronomy have gained renewed appreciation for their sophistication. The Maya concept of zero and their precise astronomical calculations challenge outdated notions about the capabilities of ancient American civilizations. Modern scientists continue to study Maya astronomical knowledge, finding connections between their observations and contemporary astrophysics. Maya art has influenced generations of artists, from the Mexican muralists of the early 20th century to contemporary practitioners. The bold colors, intricate patterns, and symbolic imagery of Maya ceramics and murals continue to inspire new artistic expressions that blend traditional and modern elements. Maya literature, particularly the Popol Vuh, has been translated into numerous languages and studied by scholars worldwide. These texts offer unique perspectives on creation, heroism, and the human condition that complement other world mythologies. In popular culture, the Maya have been featured in numerous films, books, and video games, though often with varying degrees of accuracy. The 2012 phenomenon, which misinterpreted Maya calendrical cycles as predicting the end of the world, brought unprecedented attention to Maya culture, albeit with significant misconceptions. Maya communities themselves continue to preserve and revitalize their cultural heritage. Language revitalization programs are working to preserve Maya languages, many of which are still spoken by millions of people. Traditional weaving, pottery, and other crafts continue to be practiced, with artisans adapting ancient techniques to create contemporary works. Maya spiritual beliefs persist in syncretic forms, blending pre-Columbian traditions with Catholicism. Ceremonies honoring ancestors and nature spirits continue to be performed, particularly in rural areas, maintaining a connection to ancient worldviews. The Maya have also made significant contributions to modern scholarship and cultural preservation. Maya archaeologists, epigraphers, and anthropologists are playing increasingly important roles in interpreting their own history, bringing insider perspectives to the study of Maya civilization. Tourism centered around Maya sites has become an important economic factor in many regions, providing both opportunities and challenges for local communities. While tourism can help preserve cultural heritage, it also raises concerns about commodification and environmental impact. The Maya legacy reminds us of the diversity and sophistication of indigenous American civilizations. It challenges Eurocentric narratives of history and highlights the achievements of peoples who developed complex societies in the Americas long before European contact. As we continue to face global challenges like climate change and social inequality, the Maya example of resilience, adaptation, and harmony with nature offers valuable lessons for creating sustainable futures. In our final segment, we'll reflect on the enduring fascination with Maya civilization. As our journey through the Maya world comes to a close, we were left with a profound appreciation for a civilization that mastered the challenges of the Mesoamerican jungle through innovation, spirituality, and deep understanding of the natural world. The Maya created one of the most sophisticated cultures of the ancient Americas, developing writing, mathematics, astronomy, and architecture that rivaled achievements in other parts of the world. Their cities rose from the jungle canopy, their calendars tracked time with incredible precision, and their art expressed a complex worldview that saw humans as part of a larger cosmic order. What perhaps resonates most deeply is the Maya understanding of balance. They recognize the importance of maintaining harmony between humans and nature, between the physical and spiritual realms, and between individual needs and community welfare. This concept of balance sustained their civilization for centuries and continues to influence Maya communities today. The Maya also teach us about resilience. Despite the collapse of their classic period cities and the disruptions of conquest, Maya people have maintained their cultural identity, language, and traditions. They adapted to changing circumstances while preserving core elements of their heritage, demonstrating the enduring power of cultural continuity. As you drift towards sleep, carry with you the image of a Maya city at dawn, the sound of howler monkeys echoing through the trees, and the sight of pyramids emerging from the morning mist. Remember the intricate carvings that tell stories of kings and gods, the precise calculations that mapped the heavens, and the farmers who cultivated maize in harmony with the cycles of nature. The echoes of the Maya civilization continue to inspire wonder and admiration, inviting us to look to the past for lessons that might guide our future. Their story is not just history, but a living heritage that continues to shape the Mesoamerican world and influence global culture. Thank you for joining me on this journey. May your dreams be as rich as the tapestry of Maya history, and may you find peace in the knowledge that some things, like the enduring wisdom of ancient civilizations, remain constant through time. As our journey through history gently comes to a close, I want to thank you for allowing me to be your guide tonight. The echoes of the past have a unique way of quieting our present thoughts, don't they? If you found comfort in this historical journey, consider subscribing to History Boring's Leap. By joining our community, you'll unlock a treasure trove of stories designed to accompany you into peaceful rest night after night. Your support helps us continue researching and creating these immersive experiences. While you drift towards sleep, know that thousands of others are finding tranquility in the same stories, connected through time. May your dreams be as rich as the history we've explored together. Until our next journey through time, I'm Mike, wishing you deep rest and peaceful dreams. Good night.